This isn't subtle colonialism. It is loud, proud, in your face, shameless colonialism. Donald Trump's illegal assault against Venezuela is just the beginning. In his sights, Colombia, Cuba, Mexico, Greenland. If there is one advantage to Donald Trump, it's that unlike previous US presidents, he doesn't even bother to hide his intentions. He doesn't dress up US military interventions as being driven by democracy or freedom or human rights. He just comes out and says that this is about stealing natural resources and about US domination. The man who ran as the peace president, who campaigned against the forever wars, is on a violent rampage, and it's not going to stop unless it's fought. A quick recap: the US has, of course, bombed Venezuela, killing dozens of civilians, and kidnapped its president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. The pretext for this is drug trafficking. This is, of course, a total lie. Back in November, Trump pardoned the former Honduran president, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was convicted of conspiring with drug traffickers and using his position to smuggle cocaine into the United States. He'd been sentenced to 45 years in prison. No, this is about oil. How do we know it's about oil? For a start, Donald Trump has told us over and over again, in fact. This is Trump back in 2023.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
Not exactly subtle, is it? He literally made clear he was seeking to take over Venezuela's oil before he was even president again. And here's what he said this weekend.
China and Russia, Russia when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to give it to them. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
We will be selling large amounts of oil to other countries. He's talking about oil that belongs to Venezuela here. And listen to this.
Did you speak with them before the operation took place?
Yes.
Did you maybe tip them off?
Before and after. And they want to go in, and they're going to do a great job for the people of Venezuela. And they're going to represent us well.
And to this.
Yeah, they're going to be taken very good care of. Yes, ma'am.
Have you spoken with the oil companies about
Yes.
going into Venezuela?
I have.
Which ones? Have you received any commitments?
All of them, basically.
Any commitments from the oil companies?
They want to go in so badly.
This is open plutocracy. He's proudly admitting to briefing oil companies, not the American people or Congress, before launching a war in their interests, and then boasting about how they're going to go in and make huge profits. Indeed, listen to this.
Are you going to demand free and fair elections in the short term in Venezuela?
Well, it depends, what you're talking. We have to do one thing in Venezuela, bring it back. It's a dead country right now. It's a country that, frankly, we would have been, if I had lost the election, we would have been a dead country. We would have been Venezuela on steroids. Venezuela right now is a dead country. We have to bring it back. And we're going to have big investments by the oil companies to bring back the infrastructure. And the oil companies are ready to go. They're going to go in. They're going to rebuild the infrastructure. We built it to start off with many years ago. They took it away. You can't do that. You can't do that with me. They did it with other presidents.
There's not even a pretense that this has anything to do with democracy at all. It's a war for oil. It's as simple as that. And it's a war which has been planned for a very long time. Listen to this from James Tallarico, a progressive Texan Democrat.
And I think we forgot about this story in 2024 when Donald Trump, then a candidate for the presidency, met with some of the biggest oil executives in the country. And he promised them this, quote, great deal in exchange for $1 billion in campaign contributions. In response, those same oil executives flooded Donald Trump's campaign coffers with cash. And so on Saturday, Donald Trump thanked them with a gift. And that gift was the nation of Venezuela, home to the largest oil reserves in the entire world. And so promises made, promises kept. This war is illegal. It is reckless. I think that's been talked about a lot. But I think we also have to recognize how corrupt this new war is.
So Trump makes a promise to oil executives to make them loads of money, gets rewarded with massive campaign donations, and then pays them back by attacking Venezuela to take over the oil industry on their behalf. I'd be very interested to know if these oil tycoons specifically knew about this planned attack on Venezuela before the election. But what exactly is the fate of Venezuela? Trump has said the US is going to run Venezuela. The plan appears to be to keep the acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, in power and stick a gun to her head, order her to do the bidding of the United States, or else. Trump's already threatened her with a worse fate than Maduro, saying if she doesn't do what's right, she's going to pay a very big price, probably bigger than Maduro. Well, that means do as we say, or we're going to kill you. He's boasted that Rodriguez has said, we'll do whatever you want, adding she really doesn't have a choice. Trump has threatened Venezuela with more military strikes. Well, Rodriguez does indeed look like she's going to do the bidding of the US. The Maduro regime, it should be said, has long been imposing, as is, neoliberal policies like privatization, but she's obviously going to take that to the next level. She says, we invite the US government to collaborate with us on an agenda of cooperation orientated towards shared development within the framework of international law to strengthen lasting community coexistence. Yeah, well, I think we know what's happening here. She's going to do as she's told by her new masters. Now, we should note that polling of people in Venezuela shows there's no love for Maduro, but that 55% oppose military intervention with 23% in support. Yes, there were Venezuelan exiles cheering, but you know what? I was in Baghdad a few months ago, and I met some Iraqis who were cheering at the start when Saddam Hussein fell. I'll tell you this for nothing. They're not cheering anymore. This isn't going to stop at Venezuela. No. Listen to what Trump has to say about the left-wing, democratically elected Colombian President Gustavo Petro.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So just what your message is about that.
He has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine and they're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
And listen to this.
And that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick, too. Run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S.
It sounds good to me.
Secretary Rubio mentioned.
You know why? Because they kill a lot of people.
To be clear, this is an entirely baseless smear. This drugs allegation is just a confected pretext against someone who is unquestionably, nobody doubts it, a democratically elected president. This is gangsterism, it is terrorism, and it is naked colonialism. Trump's recently published national security strategy makes clear that the US intends to accept its decline as a global power, to surrender trying to be the global hegemon in favor of the world being carved out between great powers with their own sphere of influence. In the case of the United States, that means Latin America, which is why Trump also has Mexico on his list. Its president, Claudia Steinbaum, has some of the highest approval ratings of any elected politician on the face of the earth. In the 2024 presidential election, she won over 61% of the vote. Her nearest competitor won just over 28%. Listen to what Trump had to say.
I wonder, Mr. President, though, I want to ask you because from your vice president, J.D. Vance, said that the message is pretty clear. The drug trafficking must stop. So was this operation a message that you're sending to Mexico, to Claudia Sheinbaum, the president there?
Well, it wasn't meant to be, and we're very friendly with her. She's a good woman, but the cartels are running Mexico. She's not running Mexico. The cartels are running Mexico. And we could be politically correct and be nice and say, oh, yes, she is. No, she's very, she's very frightened of the cartels. They're running Mexico. And I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, Mr. President. No, please. So we have to do something because we lost. The real number is 300,000 people, in my opinion. They like to say 100,000. 100,000 is a lot of people, but the real number is 300,000 people, and we lost it to drugs, and they come in through the southern border, mostly the southern border. Plenty come in through Canada, too, by the way, in case you don't know. But they come in through the southern border, and something's going to have to be done with Mexico.
Again, using drugs to make a pretext to launch an assault on Mexico. And then there's Cuba, a long-standing ambition of the US, which has placed that country under embargo for well over 6 decades. Listen to what Trump has to say.
One of the things that is happening, and I think you see it all the time, Howard, you've seen it, that Cuba is ready to fall.
Yes.
Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out. But Cuba now has no income. They got all of their income from Venezuela, from the Venezuelan oil. They're not getting any of it. And Cuba literally is ready to fall. And you have a lot of great Cuban Americans that are going to be very happy about this.
And what about Greenland, which is an autonomous territory in a constituent part of Denmark? Katie Miller is a former Trump official turned podcaster and is crucially married to a key Trump aide, his far-right Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller. Over the weekend, she posted a map of Greenland covered in the American flag, accompanied with the text, soon. Subtle. Last August, Denmark summoned the top US diplomat in protest at covert attempts to infiltrate Denmark to promote subversion and its union with the United States. A couple of weeks ago, Trump appointed a special envoy to Greenland. The territory's own prime minister declared in response that it must decide our own future, that Greenland's territorial integrity must be respected. Well, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. It is a dead cert. Donald Trump is going to annex Greenland, 2 million square kilometers of European territory. He's made clear his intentions over and over again, and anyone who still believes his second-term incarnation is defined by empty bluster has long missed their brutal appointment with reality. What happens then exactly? Both Denmark and the United States are members of NATO. Yeah, that's right. They're military allies. Article 5 of NATO's founding treaty establishes that an armed attack against one NATO member shall be considered an armed attack against them all. So what exactly is Europe going to do when that happens? Because it is going to happen. We should consider Europe's feeble response to the outrageously illegal assault against Venezuela. Trump certainly has, as he prepares to seize Greenland. He can see how weak Europe is. Expect an utterly craven response from Europe when it does, but the truth will be impossible to deny, which is that NATO and the European American military alliance will be forever dead, even if that will take a while to be properly understood. This is naked colonialism. This is a declining global hegemon which is seeking to retrench its power in its own sphere of influence, a naked grab of resources. This is all about domination on behalf of big business. You don't have to be a leftist or a conspiracy theorist or anything. You just have to listen to Donald Trump. It's all out in the open. And it's not going to stop externally. This is completely linked to his assault on the already deeply flawed American democracy. And expect an escalating assault on that this year. Nice midterms you've got there. Shame if something happened to them. And I would also add, if I was in Canada, which is also added to his list, I'd be pretty nervous. Because what Donald Trump says, he means. That's what this second term should tell us. It's not the first time when he made an accommodation with the traditional Republican establishment on the basis of he can sound off, but just do their agenda of tax cuts and deregulation and all the rest. He means it. This is real. And we're in for a very, very dark 2026. But we've got to start thinking about how we fight back. Because as we can see from the European leadership, including the Labour government, which is just bend over backwards to be the poodle of the United States, we're not going to get a response from our current leaders. They have to be replaced by leaders who are prepared to fight. Please like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts and your comments. Help us take on the dire media ecosystem in the country at patreon.com/owns084. As I keep saying, though I think it's more relevant, I'm finishing my book, The Fall of the West, which is out later this year. But when I finish that book, by the end of next month, we will focus far more on the video channel. But we're still doing our thing. Lots more to come on Venezuela and on everything else. Speak to you soon.